Hello, my name is Amanda King. I'm a teacher at Brain Middle School in Alexandria, Louisiana. In this video, what you're going to see is several different lessons that I've compiled while talking about the Constitution. So some prior knowledge for this mini unit is actually, we talk first about a document called the Articles of Confederation. Before the students can understand the Constitution, they first have to understand our original plan of government, which was the Articles of Confederation. What we do is we pick out the weaknesses of that document, and then we talk about something called the Constitutional Convention, and we look to see how are we going to make this new plan of government that we're about to create a better plan for our country. In this video, what you're going to see is actually 4 lessons that I have compiled together. The first lesson that you're going to see is a scavenger hunt or a question trail. What the students did is, first of all, I had to get them exposed to the language of the Constitution because it is a very difficult document for these 7th graders to read. So what I had them do is I gave them a copy of the Constitution, and I had some questions on a graphic organizer for them. What they did as a partner is they answered these questions using the Constitution and using that textual evidence, and they then had to go find the answer somewhere posted around the room. Once they found their answer, they could, number one, check their answer, but then it tells them where to go next. So once students have been exposed to the structure of the Constitution and the wording of the Constitution, we move on to what are the powers of the 3 branches of government. And we made this into a game show called Let's Make a Deal, where the students are working collaboratively with their table to answer questions based on what can each branch do. So essentially there are 2 podiums at the front of the room, and they are competing against each other. If they get the correct answer, they have the opportunity to pick from one of 12 cards. On the back of each card is either a prize or something called a Zonk card. If the students get the correct answer and they win a prize, they have the opportunity to decide as a group, do you want to keep playing to maybe get a better prize, or do you want to take the deal and run? The catch is that on the back of 2 of those cards that are at the front of the table, there are something called zonked cards. So let's say the last round the students got 5 bonus points, and they wanted to take a risk and keep playing. If they, the next round, receive a zonked card, they don't get any prizes. The next lesson is something called Crack the Constitution, and I use a strategy that we use at our school. It's called scrambled eggs. What I do is they work again collaboratively with their table, and at the front of the room there are some Easter eggs, and in each Easter egg there is either a question or a prompt. And what they have to do is they have to use the sources that we have been looking at throughout this mini unit to answer these questions correctly. And they also have to use a response format called the BRAIN response, which is what we utilize here at Brain Middle School across curriculum. And once they answer the question correctly, I'll come check it, of course, to see that they have the correct evidence and that the answer is correct, and they receive a ticket. For every ticket that they receive at the end of class, they get to redeem that ticket for a chance to crack an egg over my head. Some of the eggs are filled with confetti, and so they love the fact that they get to crack an egg over their teacher's head, but some of them are empty, so it's kind of a suspense. The last lesson that you're going to see is how a bill becomes law. So what I did is I first gave them a flow chart on how a bill becomes a law, the steps. We filled it in as a class. We watched the Schoolhouse Rock video on how a bill becomes a law. And then I told them that we are actually going to do a simulation of how a bill becomes a law. So they had to come up with one school rule that they think would benefit Brain Middle School. And the only 2 rules were that, number 1, it had to benefit our school, and number 2, they had to have some research to back why that would benefit our school. So I gave them some time to do the research, and then the next day when they came in, I split them up into the House of Representatives, the Senate, committee, and then I acted as the president. So what they did is I elected one leader for each group, and the committee first had to make the revisions and then take the bill where it goes. I made them discuss the bill. Why would it benefit? What are the pros and what are the cons? So then I had them vote on each bill. And then once it completed the steps, they would give it to me, the president. And I had the choice to either veto it based on their evidence if it was sufficient or not sufficient. So the ones that did get vetoed, they then had to refer back to their flow chart to see, well, what can we do to override the president?
So what we're doing today is we're finishing up that activity that we began yesterday, where we were pretty much dissecting the Constitution. We were taking the Constitution and we were breaking it down into the preamble, the articles, and the Bill of Rights, because those are the three major parts of the Constitution. While you were dissecting the Constitution, you also got some knowledge on the different jobs that the three branches of government, who can do what, pretty much. Okay, so the standard that we've been working on is describe the structure and powers that the three branches of government has. So that's what we've been looking at for the past 2 days. And we're going to continue looking at that standard tomorrow, okay? What you did is you used the Constitution to answer these questions, and then you wrote your answer, and you and your partner, you got up, and around the room, I have taped down all of the different answers. Okay, so you had to go find your answer somewhere in the room. And once you found it, it told you which question to do next. Okay. Now, some of you kind of hit roadblocks yesterday because, for example, there are 2 number 4s as an answer. Like number 4 is an answer twice. You had to go to whichever one you haven't done yet. And you'll know if you go to number 4 and it sends you to question 12 and you already did question 12, that means you need to go to the other number 4. If you get in a loop and there's no number involved, your answer might be wrong. Describe the structure and the powers that the three branches of government has. Okay? So, the structure of our government. How many branches of government do we have, Canaan? 3. Somebody tell me, what are those 3 branches? Christian, tell me one. Judicial. Executive. And the legislative. Okay? So that is the structure, right? Our government is set up into 3 different branches. But today we're going to look at, well, what can they do? What are their powers? Okay? And we're going to be using the Constitution to find out what can each branch of government do. Today we are going to be playing a game to help us master this standard. All right? So the game is called Let's Make a Deal. All right? It's a little different than the one on TV if you've ever seen it. It's very similar. But you are competing for prizes. The prizes are 1 bonus point, a homework pass, 2 bonus points, 5, 3, 10, and 15. Okay? However, there are also some cards called zonked. If you get zonked, you lose it all. Okay? Now, to do this, we have to have a copy of the Constitution, okay? So, look at your answer sheet with me that I gave you when you walked in. Everybody look at your answer sheet with me because I want to make sure that you understand how I want you to write your answers. This is a game and I do want you to have fun. However, the important thing is here that you understand the powers that the 3 branches of government have. Question number 1. Which branch of government has the power to declare war? You can help your team while you're sitting if you would like to. Nope. What is it there? You are using the Constitution to find your answers. Of government declares laws unconstitutional. Wait. right, let's see if they have the correct answer. All right, so their answer, and which branch of government has the power to regulate trade? Their answer is correct. Yes. All right, so let's go over it now. Number. What'd y'all get?
15 bonus points.
15. All right. All right, pick a number.
Ooh.
Oh! Here are the standards that we have been learning. We have been describing the structure and powers of the three branches of government. What does each branch do? What are its powers? We have been explaining how key ideas and historical documents have influenced the Constitution. Where did the Founding Fathers get those ideas of the Constitution? We have been evaluating the development of the United States government all the way from when the time they broke away and declared independence all up until now when we have our Constitution. So we have looked at how has our government formed, how has it developed. And then lastly, what we've been doing is we've been using primary and secondary sources to answer questions about United States history, especially about the Constitution.
Well, we're going through eggs and there's questions inside the eggs and we're answering those questions in the brain response of the Constitution. We're answering questions that have to deal with the Constitution.
The brain response is the B is a bold claim that restates the question, and R is it restates it. A it answers the question, M makes connections with the evidence, and E it explains your reasoning.
The question is, analyze Amendment number 3 and explain the reason this was included in the Bill of Rights. And it says, think about what it means to analyze.
The reason that Amendment 3 was included is because the Americans didn't want to violate the citizens' consent. According to the Bill of Rights, no soldier shall be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner. This because they didn't want to invade.
It feels like the bear. Just crack it on top of it? Yeah. I mean, just open it. Is there anything in it? Yeah. Ah! Today you are going to be acting as the legislative branch of government. You are going to come up with an idea that you think should be added to our school as a law, okay? You are going to add something or have an idea that you think is, number one, going to make our school a better place or help our students. And then the other stipulation is that you have to have one piece of evidence or research to prove to me why this is a good idea, okay? So, for example, you might say backpacks, okay? We don't want binders, we want backpacks. You telling me that backpack sucks, that's just your opinion, okay? That means nothing until you have some cold, hard facts to back that up. The ones that get passed, because tomorrow you're going to go through these steps. You're going to act as the House of Representatives, the Senate, the President, and committee. The ones that make it through all of the steps will be given to Ms. Fontenot.
This bill should be passed. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it's 15, 16, well, it's more than 50, so it's passed.
Pass the bill.
Okay, so
So one thing I like about this class a lot is how Miss King is like so energetic and how she's like always so happy and how this class is like so interactive and how like we're always doing something fun like every week.
The thing that I like about Miss King's class is the way she teaches.
I like all the fun activities that she does and like the group work projects.
It is my goal as a teacher to engage all students. I strive to make learning fun for these students so that they are more likely to remember this information. I hope that every single day my students leave my classroom knowing that history is important and that what they learn today will matter tomorrow.